GM. Welcome back to another episode of Web3 Academy, where together we explore what business models are winning in blockchain, crypto, NFTs, and Web3, because we want to keep you on the forefront of technology. I'm Jay Bird, and I'm here today to deep dive with you all about community. And I know what you're thinking, oh, not another episode about community. We talk about community so much. And I'll be straight with you. It is a buzzword that is way overused in our space right now. But at the same time, in every call I have as an advisor with an NFT project, with a blockchain project, even with Web2 projects, any digital project, any business period, I am always pushing people to think more about community, and not just think more about community, but prioritize community more. Make it a bigger part of your business. And I'll tell you why, because community is a foundation that can lead to results that you can't even imagine, bigger results than you could ever imagine, because community, it's like building the strongest foundation for your house. You don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if you build a really strong foundation that can lead to many, many better and more impactful results. And also, it could even just hold up your house through an earthquake. It could hold up your house through a disaster. If something goes wrong in your business, your community could actually be the thing that helps you survive through that. So there is so much value community. And in order to bring you one of the best perspectives on community in Web3, we've teamed up with our friend TPan, who is an expert on growth marketing and community development in the space. And he wrote an awesome article that I'm going to be reading to you today. So let's jump right in. But before we do, we're just going to take a minute to hear from our sponsor.
The future of social media is here, and that future lives in Web3 on top of Lens protocol. Web2 social platforms are broken and ripe for disruption. You see, the epicenter of social media is the creators, and yet they are the most neglected. Web2 platforms like Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram are all essentially robbing creators of their worth. Creators are a new type of entrepreneur, forming new types of businesses. Yet with Web2 platforms, creators don't own their content or their profiles, and that's their product and business. Instead, they are tied to the platforms they choose to create on. Well, just like how crypto is freeing us from banks, Web3 is freeing us from these centralized platforms. On Lens Protocol, creators own their content, own their profile, and even their social graph and followers in the form of NFTs. This allows you to move freely from one social application to another with your content, profile, and followers moving along with you. Lens Protocol enables self-sovereignty for your social graph and interoperability across the internet. At Web3 Academy, we believe this is the future of social, and that's why we've partnered with Lens to ensure that the path of social media is heading in the right direction. Visit lens.xyz to learn more today.
All right, welcome back. Today we're talking about community performance marketing. And we're doing that with our good friend TPan. Here's what we're going to break down. We're going to break down the current state of community in Web3. We're going to talk about how to think about and prepare your team for community growth marketing. We're going to talk about how community can become a business function. This section is really good. And then we're also going to talk about arguments against community initiatives, because we need to look at both sides of the coin. So first up, let's talk about community performance marketing. So despite all the attention and fanfare and LinkedIn posts highlighting the importance of building and fostering a community, most people haven't unlocked the true flywheel growth that can come from community. And it shows in the current market state. Now, TPan doesn't have all the answers, and neither do we at Web3 Academy. But I'll tell you what we do believe. We believe that the strongest businesses will lean into community-led growth, or CLG for short. On top of this, the backdrop of the current recession is providing a fertile ground for community as a business function to rise in prominence during the next market cycle of investment, growth, and opportunities. So as we all know, let's be honest, where's community at now? It's a buzzword. And when we look at community in comparison to other business functions, it's way down the ladder. And a lot of cases, community isn't even its own business function. You've got sales, marketing, design, customer support, finance, legal, talent. All of these things are business functions. Sometimes in a business, community is its own business function, but often it's maybe a piece of one of those, or maybe it doesn't exist at all. But there are exceptions to this. We've heard some of the top community talent making 100K plus a year as experienced Discord moderators. You can certainly imagine that the community team at Yuga Labs is compensated very well, and they're very skilled at what they do. That said, currently the vast majority of community roles are either treated as elevated customer support roles, often sit within that function, not empowered to make meaningful decisions, and they're not provided the resources to level up and provide more value to the business and community itself. But let's think about the future, or where we see the best community leaders leaning into is here's the future of what we see. 3 predictions. First, more growth and performance marketers will shift into community-related roles, and skilled community managers will level up into growth and performance marketing roles. And identifying who is the best fit for these roles in either direction will be key to success. Next, community functions will start building best-in-class frameworks and playbooks to show impact and demand a budget. And if done correctly, the signal will be clear as day, and the best organizations will create budgets for community to scale. I completely agree with this. I can't wait for these best-in-class frameworks to be shared and the playbooks to exist, and for community to get the budget it deserves. And what is this going to lead to? The final prediction, it's going to lead to community becoming a business function that will rise in prominence. Community may become a subset of a broader function like marketing or growth, or it may become a function of its own with full stack support, creative, engineering, product, etc. And I think the best businesses, the ones that really win, are going to be the ones that make community its own function. So let's look at community growth and upskilling community roles. How many community managers currently understand the concepts of, let's say, ROI, K factor, LTV, CAC, user cohorting, or attribution? And how many are comfortable having conversations with product managers, data scientists, analysts, or performance marketers? Probably the number is not that high. It's growing, I'm sure, but it's probably still low. Additionally, understanding a concept is different than implementing it in practice. On the other hand, how many growth professionals understand the concepts above? Nearly all, or at least there's an expectation that they will understand them over time. And there's likely opportunities for them to grow into understanding these through upskilling and training. Now, as community building becomes a strategy that all companies and brands employ, cross-training and upskilling community teams is going to be instrumental in growing the community and, as a result, the business. So what does growing a community mean for TPan? Means 3 things. First, focusing beyond the vanity metrics of top-line numbers. Top-line community membership is the usual number that most people are looking at. What that should lead to is engaged membership. Engaged membership should lead to types of engagement by member. That should lead to understanding user personas and identifying the actions that lead to the highest value members. Second thing, focusing beyond the channels where the community lives. The community has a presence on Discord, Twitter, etc., should lead to understanding the content that the community engages with, which should lead to understanding why the community engages with specific content, which should lead to creating content that provides value and results in specific actions, which has increased results and outcomes for the business. Third thing, redefining what it means to build a community. Building a community of customers and users should lead to building a community of customers that care about each other and are providing value to each other. This should lead to events and activations led by the community team for the community. And this should lead to partnering internally and externally to create activations that benefit the community while moving the needle for the business in a measurable way. Now, this is where growth folks help their community colleagues better understand how their role and impact can be more effective for the community. themselves, and the overall business. TPan imagines that if he were to share this with his growth peers, he'd get a version that looked something like this. Somebody on their own saying, hey, we should help community managers understand growth concepts. And the growth professionals over in their little clique would be like, oh, yeah, we should do that. Cool, thumbs up. And then nothing changes. And this is where a shift in perspective and alignment of incentives is critical. To find the right individuals that are willing to collaborate, humility and openness are needed in a bi-directional manner. Who are the people in growth functions that are willing to invest, partner, and educate their community colleagues to supercharge aligned goals? Are goals even aligned? Who are the growth pros that enjoy interacting with the community? Community isn't just about numbers either. There are softer, more qualitative aspects to this, like spending time with the community and just saying hello and goodbye, GM, good night, whatever it might be. Those are the things that matter. Can you measure the direct impact of every hand the president shakes? No, but that shouldn't stop you from shaking those hands and kissing those babies. On the other hand, who are the people in community functions that are hungry to learn how to apply growth concepts and frameworks to supercharge the impacts of their efforts for the community? It's important to note that this isn't a cross-functional relationship that is a weekly one-to-one check-in and provide ideas. There needs to be an investment on both sides to truly understand each other. Until then, community as a growth strategy will be limited. As an additional incentive for growth professionals to better understand community is that the organic channel has generally been elusive. What's an organic user or organic channel? An organic channel is a marketing channel that's responsible for generating organic traffic. Organic in this case means natural. Just as with all inbound marketing, the user comes to you and natural traffic is generated via things like search engines or via community. Now, as community rises in prominence, we believe these definitions will become outdated. Organic traffic will never be fully measurable, but community can play a much larger role in helping us understand the catch-all definition. If we think about community times growth, we can get 3 different teams. We can have cross-training community teams, we can have cross-training growth teams, and then we can have creating aligned incentives. With that, what can community growth as a practice look like? Best-in-class community growth through measurement and playbooks. So let's take a look at a couple of hypothetical examples of how community can shake hands with growth. Ford. What the F, Ford? Yes, Ford, the car company. TPan's been seeing a lot of car commercials as the NBA and NFL seasons are in full swing. So why not? How much does Ford spend a year on advertising? $3.1 billion, billion with a B. But what if, as a test, Ford took 1% of that budget, 31 million, to run a pilot program to kickstart community building? Screw that. Even if they spent 0.1% of the marketing budget, which would be 3.1 million, that'd be plenty. What could this community pilot look like? Choose 5 dealerships per global region and test different types of community building initiatives, such as event-driven community building. Every month, one random prospective Ford buyer gets their vehicle for free right before they sign on the dotted line. No questions asked. Every other week, one random prospective Ford buyer gets their vehicle at the base model price with all add-ons for free right before they sign on the dotted line. No questions asked. Every week, one random prospective Ford buyer gets free services for X number of years right before they sign up. Again, no questions asked. Second, how about education-driven community building? Every month, host an education day around a car-related theme. How to change your engine oil, how to determine if you're paying the right price for a used car, etc. Free food, bring your kids if they love cars, make a whole event out of it. Or host Ford office hours. If you have questions about your car and want an expert opinion, come right in. You can take this further by inviting owners of other brands as well. Hire part-time specialists if needed. And finally, you could highlight and reward community members for service to their local community. Create a communal space for community events. This is going to drive value to the community. Another option would be long-term community building, which would provide both virality and value. And you could incorporate both of these strategies above. Now, how would the success of this effort be measured? Incremental sales in the short and long term, incremental sales in surrounding dealerships, see the halo effect, media exposure and social listening, particularly with a viral community building strategy, and the amount of new customer info gained, such as emails collected, referrals, and if they don't drive a Ford, you can gather their info via the education community building strategy. Now, assuming this works, build a playbook to scale this across regions and globally. Then hire full-time community managers that are responsible for growing a Ford customer community. But make sure the playbooks are complementary to cultural nuances and what the community cares about. If success continues, a portion of the $3.1 billion marketing budget shifts from paid marketing to community marketing. And all of a sudden, you're standing there saying, whoa, we can use the marketing budget and it can build community? Hell yeah. Wow. Huge unlock. Okay, let's talk about another example. Let's talk about Doodle Putt. Doodles are holding an event, or they've actually done this now. They've held an event at Art Basel called Doodle Putt. This was a 9-hole mini golf course and is absolutely on brand for Doodles. Knowing them and their history of activations, it was an absolute banger. In this example, how did Doodles bring together community and growth? First, community impact. How many holders attended the event? How does this event impact social media and Discord community activity? How does this event impact the quality of the community activity? What is the feedback of the event? Think in-person feedback, feedback forums, and on social/Discord. That was the community impact. What about the business impact? How much Doodles merch was sold at the event and online? Are there attributable moments causing a spike in sales? What was the average order value for activation attendees greater than online purchases? Do people who attended the activation purchase multiple times? How does the event impact secondary sales on NFT marketplaces like OpenSea? How about the brand impact? Are news outlets covering the event? What is the sentiment? What is the reach? How many non-holders participated in the activation? What brought them there? Now, Doodles have a couple of notches under the belt with these types of activations, and they've built a community since inception. So we imagine the team has a more focused framework with how they measure success and how they can use these insights to continue fostering a healthy community while growing the business. But if they don't, this is where they can start. Now let's talk about tools to help with automation and measurement. As Web3 is showing early signs of maturity, community management tools have arrived on the scene. And here's a few to mention. First up, Blaze, which is a campaign management and user segmentation and wallet insights. Or how about Dots, which allows automation flows and community insights? Or how about Landing Party, which gives you support bots, support ticketing, and help centers? And there's plenty more. Tools like these help with creating the community playbook, as well as provide a common ground for community and growth to shake hands and work together. Another tool that we talk lots about is Chasm, which provides community insights, automation, and almost a CRM to manage all of your community members all in one place. Are you building a community around your brand? Well, listen to this. At Web3 Academy, our motto is community first, profit second. Why? Because engaged communities tell you exactly how to improve your product and ultimately drive growth. They act as team members, recruiting new customers and providing crucial feedback. And they become brand superfans, sticking by you through thick and thin. But to engage your community, you must first understand them. That's where Chasm comes in. Chasm is our go-to Web3 tool for managing and understanding our community members. It combines both on-chain and Web2 metrics all in one user-friendly dashboard. With Chasm, you'll know things like which other communities your members are part of and which of your campaigns are truly driving results. That's why at Web3 Academy, We use Chasm to launch campaigns, optimize growth, engage our community members, and automate workflows with this all-in-one tool. If your community is already on chain, get to know them better with Chasm. Head to chasm.xyz using the link in the description and discover why top brands like Immutable, Nifty Labs, and Collab Land are using Chasm. Now let's talk last about community as a business function. And this is so important and a step that I really hope more businesses take. As companies and brands scale, community can turn into a business function of its own. Here's what this might look like from 0 to 100. Phase 1, minimum viable community. Community led with support from various functions. Focus on digital channels to build community and understand the 1,000 true fans and what they engage with and why. Test, learn, rinse, repeat. Phase 2, scaling community. Build out a community team, expand the digital footprint and consider physical footprint where appropriate, cross-functional partnerships to measure impact, build frameworks and playbooks. Phase 3, community as a business function. Scale community team, community managers, community relations, community ambassadors, omnipresence across channels and the ecosystem, establish an independent budget for community building and scaling efforts, and build cross-functional playbooks to create 1 + 1 = 3 impact. Now, we're not strictly defining what small, medium, and large looks like intentionally. A large company still needs to start small and then scale up. Also, certain pieces may come in earlier phases. Some companies may be able to create a budget at an earlier point than others. But if we think about it as minimum viable community, phase 1, scaling community, phase 2, and community as a business function, phase 3, that is a simple framework or model that any business can follow. Another source of inspiration is B2B companies and how they build community with existing and prospective clients. It's arguably easier to do than B2C because there is a smaller community base. Bessemer Venture Partners recently wrote a piece about community-led growth featuring several portfolio companies and their strategies. You don't have to start with 0 when you're thinking about how to create a community. There are plenty of examples out there, and they might not be called a community in the traditional sense. A great example of this is the role of developer relations teams. The typical role is developer evangelist, a developer advocate, developer experience, and developer marketing. So how do developer relations teams foster strong communities? How do they measure success? How do they balance a digital and physical presence? Now what happens when you replace developer with community? Boom. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. What are the arguments against community growth? If TPan is making a case for something, it's only fair to think through arguments against it. Community as a strategy isn't right for everyone. I want to repeat that. Community as a strategy is not right for everyone. Now, while TPan may generally disagree with this, if we were to pull back the layers of the statement, there are 2 questions that lead to this argument. When is the right time to build community, and what kind of community should be built? If you're an Amazon dropshipper, you don't need to build community because Amazon does that for you. All you have to do is focus on getting more products and optimizing them to show up as the first result. I hope we don't have more Amazon dropshippers in the world, though we don't need them. However, once you get to a certain scale, you can incorporate community building by creating a YouTube channel that reviews various Amazon products, including your own. Community doesn't drive business results. It's fairly clear that communities drive business impact. The missing piece is having the resources and knowledge for community professionals to show that, which goes back to the first prediction and point. In fact, TPan believes strong communities combined with creative marketing strategies will create outsized results. Just look at any top tier NFT brand. Getting too close to community is a business risk. Now, this is a valid point, but empowering and engaging your community is not the same as giving the community the authority to make business decisions. The key to this is to draw healthy boundaries between your community and company. Community does not equal employee. This is why starting small and scaling up, especially for large companies, is important. Understanding the motivations and personas of your community are key to success. If the goal is just financial gain, things can quickly get ugly, and so you must know what motivations you're dealing with. Community isn't proven for blank. This is another fair point, especially when communities are Web3 enabled with an ownership component. We're still in the early innings of that. Similar to how blockchain games have been largely unsuccessful so far, every major gaming studio is attempting to be the first to figure it out. After all, the reward for doing so will be substantial. It's also easier to lead with authenticity. Back to blockchain gaming, the game needs to be fun first. If it isn't fun, no one will care about the NFTs in the game or how much you might be able to earn. Why play a boring game when you can just ape into DeFi protocols? What if a company has a strong community management team, but the CEO begrudgingly engages with the Discord server or Twitter spaces? The situation is the same. In a world where everything is increasingly turning into an advertisement and people question if something is real, authenticity wins and communities thrive off it. Now, TPan wants to re-emphasize that community growth is an evolving discipline. He believes that there will be more and better frameworks and examples than what he's provided. Maybe Ford has already tested this local community concept and he's not aware. Regardless, TPan hopes and we at Web3 Academy hope that these ideas and concepts will provide a spark of how to think about building a community and push you into the tremendous potential that community building can enable. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Hope you're all having a fantastic week. If you're part of any communities out there, go say hey to them. Go give them some love. Go spread that good community juju. And you know how you do that? You just show up. You just say hi. You just say goodbye. You just be an active participant. And if you're a leader within a community, I hope you found this useful because there's huge potential as community begins to grow and becomes more of a key part of all businesses. That's a wrap, folks. Have a great day. Jay Bird out.
Thank you for listening to Web3 Academy. We hope this helps you along your Web3 journey. And if it does, please share this episode and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Nothing in this podcast was financial advice. Crypto and Web3 can be risky. You can literally lose it all. In fact, if you invest on account of what we say, you probably will lose it all. So don't do that. In all honesty, the point of this podcast is to remove the noise of markets and price and focus on utility and implementation anyway. So you should not take any of this as financial advice. Thank you, friends, and see you in the next one.